Hey folks, all right, so we are moving on with this. This should be, if all goes well, this should be the 4th video in this series. I don't think I'm going to get it all on this because I've got something really special planned and still got a lot to do. But I'm really happy with it so far. So the next step is I've got to cut this line all the way around, and we're going to do a special background inside of here, but this is going to be a rectangle background. So really the only surface of the board is going to be this. And
bear with me, I'm trying to get the lighting right.
Oh, yeah, it's late afternoon, so and the sun is coming in behind us. Anyway, so this is going to be wood. This is all going to be cut away. So you're going to see the surface of this and this surface. Other than that, it's all going to be cut away. So, again, let's get into this so we're not wasting any time. We've got lots to do. So I've got my 90-degree V-groove in, what I normally use for the background. That's what I used for this. And I got it set at about 1/4 of an inch, something like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the edge of the board here along with my hand to try and hold that line fairly well. We'll see if I'm successful at it. You can always use a straight edge on this too, guys, if you feel more comfortable doing that. All right, so let's get some light.
Let's try to come up here a little bit.
If you guys haven't seen me do long straight lines like that before, I want to explain something. You saw me do my heavy cut and kind of stay away from the line a little bit, and then I'll come back and kind of trim that up and just try to get as close to that straight line as possible. That actually looks pretty good. I might touch that up on a couple little places, but honestly I think that's a pretty good line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that same thing on the other 3 lines on the board, then we'll come back and I'll start the background. Hey folks, all right, so we are ready to get the background done. So what I'm going to do here is a little bit different. This is going to be and this is just a small piece that I did off camera, but I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. But basically, it's exactly the same process as my little dimple, big dimple. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. My golf ball pattern. Anyway, so I'm using a bigger router bit. I'm using actually a 3/4 inch 90-degree V-groove. And this is, again, an Amana bit. I've used this before. In fact, I used it as, I think I did the edge of a Countryside Workshop. I did the edge with that, the actual outside border. But I got an idea that I wanted to do the dimple background, but with a bigger bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do some of this. I'm going to do most of it off camera, but I'm going to do some to show you exactly what I do. Now, here's what I found that is really important when I'm working with this white poplar. I did some samples of this in pine and it came out absolutely perfect. But when I did it, when I practice in white poplar, because it's so hard compared to the pine, it burnt. It was burning really bad. In fact, I've got a piece around here. Let me show you. I'll grab it real quick and I'll show you. You can see that it was burning pretty bad. Now, normally if I'm going to spray it black, that wouldn't be an issue at all. But unfortunately, I'm not spraying this black. I'm going to leave it wood color. This will be black in here, but this is going to be, all the background is going to be wood color. So I had to try and figure out how to solve that issue. And what I found out is that if I do it fairly quickly, sorry, my chair is sticking on the ground. If I do it fairly quickly, there doesn't seem to be any burning. The slower that I do it, the more that it wants to burn. So that's how those burn marks happen, is I was doing it slowly. I thought if I did it slowly, it would be less likely to burn, but that's wrong. It burns the slower you go. So that being said, I'm going to move the router in and out of that material fairly quickly. And you guys, so when you see that, you'll know why. It almost like it's like I'm rushing it and it's tearing, but the bit is super sharp. I sharpened it myself. The bit is super sharp, and I am just slightly deeper than 1/4 of an inch, which seems to give me the pattern that I really like. All right, enough talking. Let's do it. So that gives you an idea what I'm looking for. Well, I really like that. I think that, so everything in between these outside lines, this will all be done this way. One thing to keep in mind, you can see I did get a little bit of burning when I started to slow down a little bit. And when you guys watch that, because you watched it at twice the speed, it's probably not quite as fast as you think that I'm going, because I just speeded it up twice as fast. But you can see a little bit of burning in there, and that's what I want to try to avoid, which most of the time I did. The other thing that I do when I do this dimple, whether it's the small dimple pattern or now the large dimple pattern, I really don't want any kind of lined. I want to try and make it as random as possible, if however that is possible. I could go back and forth and make a kind of a pattern to it, but that's not really what I want. I want a random look to it. So anyway, guys, that is it. I'm going to finish this up off camera as far as all of this background stuff, give my hands a little bit of a rest, because that is a little bit of a workout. When we come back, we'll have all of this done and we'll move on to the next step. Okay guys, I'm filming this by myself because Vicky had to run an errand with the kids. Anyway, so I've got it all masked off. So everything that you see masked off is going to be wood color. The edge, the border is going to be black, and then over there, let me see if I can point correctly. I can't. Because I'm looking at the screen and it's upside down because of the way our camera is. Anyway, that area there is going to be black around the group. One thing I wanted to, and I'm using the primer. A couple things I wanted to say is that this masking tape is about 2 or 3 or 4 years old, and it was coming off in little tiny pieces, and that old trick they said about throwing it in the microwave for about 30 seconds worked great. So now it's back to a brand new like roll of masking tape where it was basically trash. Anyway, so I wanted to use a little bit wider. I thought I had a roll of the wide painter's tape. This is brand new tape, and I never seem to have an issue with this. But anyway, so if you've got old masking tape that's bad, that comes off in little tiny strips or whatever, throw it in the microwave and heat it up for about 30 seconds. It works great for me. Anyway, so I'm using the primer, got it all masked off. Oh, here's another thing that, and you guys may, if you watched an old video, you may have seen this. This is just a little brace that I made. Just a 2x6 there, screwed a 2x6 to an upright, so that when I'm spraying big signs, I've got something to lean it against, and it fits in these notches of these little plastic sawhorses. So it actually works pretty good. I'll probably use it when I spray the finish on it. But anyway, so now I am going to finish up spraying all the way around the edge. Then I'm going to stand it up and spray this part. I don't even know if I'm on camera. Spray this part and then spray the border. Then when I come back, we will take all the masking tape off and sand it. See what it looks like. Hey guys, so I didn't say this on the previous scene, but I put a chamfer around the back of this sign and I've got it all sprayed. I'm starting the sanding process, but I want to show you something that is just pretty amazing to me. So I've got my belt sander. You guys know I'm all about the belt sanders. A lot of you guys use random orbital sanders. That's great, whatever works for you. But this is, I'm just doing the back right now. So this is the rough belt 40 grit. And let me just show you something that I discovered. So I just hit that for about, I don't know, 10, 12 seconds with the 40 grit belt. Now let me show you something. So here is the disc sander. We've been talking about this. This is an
favorite tool.
Yeah, Vicky's favorite tool. This is an 80 grit disc on here. I'm telling you, for speed, if I had ever had one of these when I was carving signs on site, if I'd ever had one of these, I never would have used a belt sander. Now, I know a lot of you are saying, oh, but it's not even, it's, you know, but to be honest, it doesn't feel any different than, it's much smoother than it was with a 40 grit belt sander. And a lot of you guys have problems with belt sander. Now, it took me a little while to kind of get the hang of this thing. Vicky will attest to that when she started using it. You have to kind of use the leading edge. If I'm going to sand over here, then I will use this edge and I will tip it slightly. And again, this is, you know, we're not making fine furniture, guys. So is it as smooth as it would be if you were, you know, using something else? Now here's the other thing. This half I already did with the disc sander, and then I would go back if it's not smooth enough for you, I've got a 120 on the random orbital. And many of you guys use this exclusively. But if you're used to using this and you want some speed, get yourself one of these and learn how to use it. I'm going to use the combination of these two on the other side. As soon as I get this back done, I'm going to go ahead and flip it over and take the masking tape off and use a combination of these on the other side. I'm telling you, if I had had this combination, I never would have used a belt sander. So, we'll be right back. Yes, I know. But again, this is just my rough sand. I'm still going back with the... Okay guys, so that just gives you an idea. You can really have some touch with this thing if you use that leading edge. So now what I'll do is I'll just go back with my 120 and my random orbital. Okay, so it looks like I got a few little high spots, but that's really common when you're doing a dimple effect like that. So I'll just touch those up with a Sharpie. That's no big deal. But this gives you an idea. Now I'm going to go ahead and finish up the border all the way around, finish up these letters, exactly what I just did there. When we come back, we'll put a finish on it. All right, guys and gals, there it is. I've got my Czar in here. I've got it set at somewhere around 60 pounds, somewhere between 50 and 75 pounds. I find works really well. This is the Czar water-based polyurethane. It's the best that I've found for especially exterior applications, which this is not. This is interior, but I didn't want to use the Helmsman because I wanted a clear finish, and the Helmsman that I have is an amber color because I think it's oil-based. So I wanted just as clear a finish on here as I could get. I understand that the Helmsman water-based is clear, but I haven't got it, and I haven't used it, so I don't know for sure. So in this particular case, I'm using the Czar, even though I don't believe this is going to be an exterior application. Yeah, I love the way that brings those knots. Those knots just came to life there. That's what I was hoping for. So I am going to end up putting probably about 4 coats, at least 4, maybe 5, maybe 6 on this. And then that part of it will be done. I know you guys are probably wondering, number one, if you're putting the finish on, then the sign must be done. Kind of. But this is the end of this video. We've got one more video to go. I'm going to do something that I've never done before. It's a total experiment, and we're going to see if it works out. So you might notice that the letters are the same color, as the background, so it's not much of a contrast. That will change. So I'm doing, again, an experiment that I'm going to try that I hope comes out like I see it in my mind. So you guys will see that on the next video. So this is it for this video. Thanks for following along. I hope you like it so far. I'm pretty happy with it. I really, I'm very pleased with it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to subscribe. And if you do, when you do, we would love for you to click that little bell icon so you get notified, because we do 4 new videos every week. By the way, just as in passing, we topped 1,000 videos on our channel the other day. I haven't checked it for a year or two, but I thought we might be getting close. We just topped 1,000 videos. Unbelievable. We've been doing this for a while. Anyway, 4 new videos every week. We thank you so much for all the support. Without you guys' support, we couldn't keep doing this, and we love what we do. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much to you guys that support us by being a premium member, by buying some products once in a while. We really appreciate that, and obviously for watching. So that's enough. We will see you guys on the next video. Thanks so much, and we love you. See you next time.